Thank you everyone for coming again. My name is Mara Sullivan and I'm the Director of Operation House Call, in case anybody doesn't know me. And this is just the program I just am incredibly proud of, and I'm so happy to have my team members here with me today who a couple of them are sort of behind the scenes making this program seamless. And then one of my colleagues today with me is not behind the scenes. It's Jonathan Gardner, and he's right out there all the time doing the co-teaching and speaking about the program a lot. So I have Nancy Gardner here, and she is our co-teacher coordinator. So she's really taking care of all the behind the scenes coordination for co-teaching. And I have Adriana Mason, who's pretty new to the program, and she's the program manager coordinating all of the families, over 200 of you who volunteer your time to host medical students and really impact their education. So so excited. I want to start with something that we've had actually as an education tool about Operation House Call for a couple of years, but we haven't really used it. And so I thought, oh, let's bring it out. It's an animation about the program, and it gives you a really good overview of what the program is all about. And then we're going to dive into what is the co-teaching component all about, and then some more information about the home visits. So we should be able to give you kind of everything you need. And we're going to answer any questions, because between the four of us, and Jen here too, she's one of my parent instructors, we can answer a whole lot. So I'm going to let Jonathan take it away and share our little animation. I think we got the sound figured out, right, Jonathan? All right, here we go. Funny.
Sorry about that, people. I forgot to unmute.
There we go.
3, 2, 1.
Operation House Call teaches medical professionals essential skills to enhance the health care of persons with autism and other intellectual and development disabilities. Disparities in the quality of care provided to individuals with IDD remain one of the biggest challenges faced by families. By getting in front of professionals during their training, OHC is working to improve outcomes in medicine for years to come. Individuals with IDD teach at medical school programs in leading universities, sharing their experience with hundreds of medical students. Those same students are paired with families for a home visit. Professionals and families are able to connect meaningfully in an environment where the children feel safe and comfortable. Students then reflect on their time with the families and engage in thoughtful discussions of what they have learned. Student by student and class by class, Operation House Call is working to ensure better healthcare experiences for all individuals with IDD. Operation House Call, families teaching doctors.
Oh, thanks, Jonathan.
No problem.
You can stop the jam. That makes me laugh. I absolutely love that. Oh, and here's Millie. We can play it again at the end for people who are just joining and might have missed it, because I do think even though it's like less than 3 minutes, it gives a really great overview. And we did do that a couple of years ago. And if I were to go back, I would make sure that it was understood that we have children and adults in the program. So that was the only little thing that is different. But anyway, so is that like helpful to anyone about like what really the goal of the program is? And yeah, I think we can get right into the details now if no one has questions. So again, Jonathan and Nancy, do you want to take it away? And they're going to start with the co-teaching component of this. So when we talked about the lecture where the students learn in the classroom, that's an opportunity for an individual with autism or IDD to come into the classroom, either in person, depending on the school, or virtually, and teach alongside the parent instructors. And then you guys have this covered, so go right ahead and share.
Great. Did you bring up the presentation? No, did you bring up our slides?
Yeah, they're up.
Okay, go to page 2. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
So you guys have to share though. You have
Yeah,
to reshare.
You have
my
to
apologies
reshare.
again for the script showing up. I did not think that was going to
That's okay.
happen.
No, no problem.
There you go.
All right, now I just got a doop.
All right.
1 sec.
We got some more kind of cute animations on this
Yeah.
one too. So I love it.
There they go.
Just that one. There we go. Can you see the slides, everyone?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Okay, so you can go to page 2. Okay, so hi. So my name's Nancy Gardner, and I am the co-teacher coordinator. As the coordinator, I would love to meet with anyone that is interested in co-teaching for Operation House Call. I'm happy to set up Zooms to discuss Operation House Call. And during our conversations, I like to really share how impactful it is to have the co-teacher be the one with a disability doing the teaching. This can be done in so many different ways. That is where Jonathan will come in as the ambassador to help support the co-teachers. Having the medical students see firsthand how different patients may communicate is so essential for them to give the best patient care for everyone. During the meeting, I will gather some information about the co-teachers, your age, disability, address to send the checkout to, and any other questions you may have. When I schedule co-teachers, I usually email them with an upcoming date, medical school information, and time of the co-teaching to see if this fits with your schedule. I am always available by email and or text with any questions or concerns you may have. The co-teachers are paid $50 for their co-teaching time. And if parking is required during your co-teaching time, Mara will get you a ticket or you can save your receipt and it's always reimbursed. Having co-teachers with all different disabilities makes the biggest impact on the students. We currently have a strong diversity in our network of co-teachers. The students gain valuable perspectives from these co-teachers about their journey of life that is usually different from their own. These experiences can help to remove barriers and bring confidence to the students to provide healthcare that is truly inclusive. Now, introduce Jonathan.
Excuse me if I cough during this. I'm not feeling the best right now. So, hello, my name is Jonathan Gardner. I'm the ambassador for Operation House Call. As the ambassador, I am here to support all the co-teachers with anything you may need. A few examples that I can do are, I can set up Zooms to prepare you for your co-teaching classes. During the Zoom, we can go over strategies if you want, in case you have any anxiety. If you are comfortable with me following up with you after class, I can text you and you can get to know me and feel more comfortable asking for support. We can go over questions that the students may ask you so you can be prepared. I can also help you to ask questions of the medical students if they are very quiet. I can support and help you with your presentations. I like to make presentations and speak verbally when I co-teach, but I know we are all like to communicate differently, so I will work with you to find what is best for you to communicate your story to the students.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me.
You're doing okay.
Here are some of the different ways that co-teaching can be done. I'm here to support the co-teachers any way that is comfortable with them. Some of the co-teaching methods are speaking standing, speaking sitting, showing a video of your presentations in your own words, having a support person say your presentation for you in your own words, have a support person with you show a video of your presentation with someone speaking your words, using verbal visuals during your presentation, using a communication device, speech to text apps, and etc. I just want to share a few apps that are very useful for text-to-speech, Speechify, text-to-speech, and Natural Reader. Oh, where am I? this is a template I use to create my presentation and can help you to create your own. Introduce yourself, why Operation House Call is important to you, tell a story, share some tips, and then wrap up. That's the baseline of how I do it.
There we
This is
have
a
it.
picture. This is a picture of me co-teaching at Boston Medical University. I'm going to show you a video of me co-teaching. Give me a sec. Just gotta switch the tab.
Mhm.
You guys can see it? Okay,
Yes.
just want to make sure.
My name is John. I'm trying to some advocate next environment in the situation that has had autism. I have a vision of helping others in and one of the official ambassadors for Operation House Call. I think fellow for the Dutch Foundation that I get a chance to others in the best lives. Most recently, Governor Charles Baker since
Jonathan, can we, yeah. You're doing the volume.
I speak quietly during this, so don't mind me. But
Yeah.
It's a little too quiet, maybe. I bet you just
Yeah.
tried to turn it up.
I can probably just give a baseline of what I say if that works.
Yeah, I mean, this is good to see that you're in class and in front of the students and with the parent teacher and have support from your mom. But maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what you typically talk about.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
hard to hear. I don't know why
Yeah.
we're having sound issues
So
today.
I know. Sorry.
So let me go back to one of the previous ones so I can go over it.
There you go.
There we go. So
Perfect.
first things first, I introduce myself. I say my name is Jonathan Garner. I'm a 20-year-old self-advocate, decision maker, Flutie fellow, and I am a cancer survivor who happens to have autism. And then I go into why Operation House Call is important to me.
So
And
basically you just share, a little bit about yourself and then everyone's reason for why Operation House Call is important to them can be different and
can be different.
yeah, and you
But
share
for
why
me,
for you.
for me personally, this kind of leads into tell a story as well.
Mhm.
So the reason why Operation House Call is so important to me is because when I was going through cancer, I had a couple of experiences with medical professionals that would ignore my voice and just chalk that up to basically, he's just autism. Let's just ignore that. For example, when I was trying to find out my diagnosis in the beginning, give me a sec, sorry. My brain's like a little bit foggy.
Come on, pal.
Please.
Yeah, so Jonathan had a lot of different medical experiences when he was during his cancer journey, and even after they continue. So he likes to tell the students about a lot of overshadowing that has happened to him. I don't think we necessarily have to go into your whole story because
Yeah.
for the time's sake, but a lot of overshadowing and how that affected him. Go ahead. Hon.
Affected me not only mentally, but physically
Mhm.
also. Like I can go on to a long laundry list of stories, but for right now, I'll just leave it at this.
Mhm.
I'll just give a quick little highlight. Basically, when I was trying to find out that I had cancer, we didn't even know it was going to be cancer at the
Mhm.
time. One of the medical professionals just told me, told my mom to take me to a psychiatrist because he didn't believe I was actually in pain.
Yep.
That is something that still sticks with me today, and I still can't believe how crazy I felt back then.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
now I share some tips on what you can do basically to prevent it, or instead of you, the medical professionals, excuse me. For example, maybe disregard the fact that he has autism and show him the facts of the situation, or focus on, like, say, for example, this person's in pain. Let's see if we can find out what the pain is being caused, and et cetera from there.
And you like to, I know you talk a lot about making connection with your patients too,
Yes.
which is so powerful.
Like, for example, when I was going through chemotherapy, there was a nurse who really bonded with us in the chemo unit. She like first day when she came in, I could tell she had a smile on her face through the mask. And yes, we did have masks on in the ER thing, and it was, wow, that was a nightmare. But that's a different story. But yeah, though basically we're good friends now, and it helped a lot during chemo. And then we get into wrapping up, where we basically just finishing off like with a thank you for listening, maybe like a final thing to say, and then you open it up to questions.
Mhm.
All right. And speaking of questions, uh, any questions?
Well, before we take questions, I would say question and answer is probably one of the most important parts of the co-teaching. And it can be challenging sometimes, I think, to get the students to feel comfortable enough to ask questions, but that's really our goal. We want them to actually build some rapport with the individual, because that's, going to be their patient, right? So we ask them to ask, what's daily life like for you? What are some of the challenges you've had in the medical community? And if they're not asking those questions, we can sort of prompt them along a little bit.
And that's something Jonathan will help with the co-teachers. He's got a list of questions like that he can give them to, if no one's saying anything, say, would you like to know about my daily life? Or, to have that information there for them. So the co-teachers are all prepared.
Or for example, like sometimes there's frequent questions that get asked, like who's your favorite medical provider, or something like that. I usually create like a template just in case those are asked, so that way I can just don't have to focus on my brain power at that exact moment, and I could just go to it immediately and go from
what
there.
you're going to say, right?
Yeah.
And I think some of the nicest kind of back and forth that happens is when they do get a little more personal, ask you about your family. Do you have any brothers, sisters? What are you thinking about for your future? Those kind of questions are great. And then the other really great piece is that your mom can always be there to jump in to support kind of some of the thoughts that are coming out, and to even tell some details of history that may not be, clear enough to you. So having you two as a team really is incredibly helpful too.
Yeah, for me, it's my mom, but it could really be for anyone, any support person that you want to bring can help you out in that aspect.
Absolutely. Okay, so why don't we stop and make sure we're taking some questions that people might have about co-teaching, and then we can jump into the home visits. Yes, Christine and Julie.
Hi.
Julia. Hi.
Julie. She had to step away for a few minutes. So I feel like this should be so obvious, but I just want a little clarification. So the person with disabilities is co-teaching, but who's the other co-teacher? Is it that there's like a instructor of the students? Are you considering that person the person you're co-teaching with, or is it that,
like, yeah, we probably should have defined co-teacher, right? So there are typically two parent instructors that give the basic curriculum of the class, and that happens for the first hour to hour and a half of the class. And so like I said, me and Jen will teach about our learning objectives through our own personal family stories. And then we bring on the co-teacher, and we basically say at the beginning of class, the last half hour of class, you're going to be joined by a co-teacher. And this is truly the best part of class because it kind of always is. And so, yeah, so that's what we mean by co-teachers. There are parent instructors, and then there are co-teachers. We call Jonathan, our Operation House Call ambassador, because we have a very special role for him, because he's not only a co-teacher, but he's also a mentor. So he, mentors all the new co-teachers and works with them on any, level of anxiety that they might have. And also we recognize that not everyone can tell their story the way Jonathan is able to, and that's absolutely fine. We want the students to meet people across the entire spectrum of IDD and autism. So that's the goal. But just to give you a little bit more about what happens before the co-teacher comes on, we really focus on, why the ARC runs Operation House Call. We talk about the disparities that exist and the really significant issue, which is access to care, especially for adults. So, it's really hard to find a primary care doctor for an adult with autism, for example. So we talk about how we really want to sort of grow confidence in these medical students and interest. And we think we really pull them in by telling them about our stories and allowing them to see the strength of our loved one, our child with IDD or autism. And then they also begin to see sort of the resilience of the whole family. And they learn a little bit more about the systems that support us. But mostly the curriculum is focused on communication. We want them to understand the importance of communication and that it can be different and individual for each person. And we really want them to take the time to find that out. What's the best strategy? We tell them to give it up to the patient and their caregivers and their families, and to really be able to say, I want to hear from my patient in whatever way they can communicate to me, whether it's physical, whether it's play. But I also know there's other important voices here in the room, and I want to hear from everyone. Give me some insight. Tell me what works best. So we really give the doctors a script to use that we think is really effective. We also talk a lot about the importance of language and how it's also extremely individualized, right? So, really opening up the lines of communication around that. Is the person prefer identity first or person first language? We give them kind of the background of what not to use, what is not in the lexicon anymore. And then as Jonathan mentioned, we talk a lot about diagnostic overshadowing, or how bias can affect treatment and assessment, just like it did for Jonathan. So things like, is self-injurious behavior or aggression or sleeplessness, is that just part of the autism? No, there's often many times that those behaviors have a medical root or a medical cause, and we don't want them to just consider them, oh, they don't sleep, oh, that's part of the autism, put them on a sleep med. Or, oh, they're aggressive, get them to the psychiatrist and get them on a behavior med, when there could be significant pain like GI pain or tooth pain, or who knows. We need them to be the investigators and look beyond the behavior. So we talk about a little bit about intersectionality when, folks with a disability also have another marginalized identity and how the disparities are worse. And then we talk, about resources, tips, accommodations, and about systems. So it's a lot to fit in that, hour and a half time frame. I don't know, Jen, I talked a lot, but do you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I think, Christine, I think the co-teacher, the way to kind of think about it is kind of like, it's kind of like if you were to do a home visit, but you're actually there. Like the students are there to ask you questions. And, Julia and you could also present, kind of what things over the years have made really great appointments. It could be, making sure that they talk to Julia and that, they're not just talking to you, like all those things that make a really good appointment or a hospital stay or whatever. And then what are things that were really, tough for you and her about your medical experiences. And then of course, highlighting, all the great things that Julia does, in her daily life, and, all of the things that Julia that make you who you are. So I think it's just kind of highlighting all of those things. And that's kind of what the co-teacher is. They've heard from Maura and myself or another parent instructor, and now they're ready to get a different family's perspective.
Absolutely. That's perfect, Jen. Yeah. Any other questions on the co-teaching component of class? Because we want to tell you a little bit more about the home visits for people who are all the way new. Oh, Marie. Oh, you're still muted, I think. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to ask a little bit because my son is doing orientation at BSU today, so he wasn't able to be here. We were interested in doing this together. How would you balance it out? Because Dominic doesn't have as much information or sometimes memory about the experiences when he was young, which unfortunately were somewhat more along the lines of Jonathan's experiences. He has more of the positive experiences. He got older, was better able to communicate. Would you be able to do a balance of maybe the parent talking a little bit about the history and then, my adult child talking about his experiences now and the process of trying to find an adult doctor for him?
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful balance. And oh, great. Happy that Craig is interested too. So yes, that is really what we strive for. We have a couple of co-teaching teams where the individual does not speak at all. Still there's communication going on.
Absolutely.
There's physical communication. There's sometimes augmentative communication used. But that, kind of team approach to what life has been like is really powerful.
Okay, thank you.
We would love to have you. Oh, Patty, hi.
Thanks.
I'm going to jump into. Hi, my daughter and I, my daughter Carol and my husband John, and I, we've done a couple of the home visits. We started, I think, a couple of years ago while we were still in COVID because we all were circled around the TV and stuff. But they were very nice, and it was refreshing to us to have the students so interested in Carol's story. Similar to the sleeping characteristic of people with autism, Carol has a very rare chromosome disorder, and she has a number of seizures. And I am often blown away, particularly by emergency room people, about it's a seizure. What do you want us to do? And it got tragic on our experience about 6 years ago. And she actually was having different seizures, but instead of listening to us, her parents and her direct caregivers, we were just being blown away. The guy got hung up on seizures and discharged us. She ended up with an acquired brain injury. So now we have a before and after of her. But it's those type of stories. It's like, she doesn't fall into the box. I think I could easily get her a diagnosis of autism, but she has too many. I don't need another diagnosis right now. But it's listening to, I don't know if everybody else feels like this, listening to the parent that has cared for this person for years and years and years, and just don't blow me away as a worrywart mom. And I can give multiple stories about when we were thrown home with the flu, and it wasn't a flu, it was actually a bowel obstruction. It's like,
oh my goodness, Patty.
I don't have a medical degree, but I know there's something wrong. And it's just trying to articulate that to students, I think is very valuable. I don't know if I'm sure everybody else has those same situations, but we would love to be involved in the co-teach because of that. I, of course, would be the one talking, but Carol would be smiling and flirting with everybody in the room.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And yes, those stories are key. And Jen and I tell them throughout class as well, because we have way too many missed appendicitis and, very, and a lot of it does come back to just what you said and what Jonathan said, which is listening to the individual, listening to the caregiver. So really, really appreciate that feedback. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Right. So I don't want to keep everybody too much. I'm wondering if Adriana's ready to just show a couple of slides on the home visit for people who might want a refresher on that, or they don't know anything about it. And you could say hi.
Hi, yes, and I think our tech guru Jonathan is going to jump into action again. So like Mara said, I am the program manager for the home visits. which is kind of how we round out the Operation House Call experience for the students. And so it's kind of a two-part, the way that it works, which is that students are paired with families, and like we say, there's over 200 families that are so generous with their time. There's multiple families that are doing multiple visits throughout the year, and then there are some families that just want to do maybe 1 or 2 throughout the year, and that's fine too. That's easy enough for us to manage. So basically what we do start to finish would be to do a like a call with the family and myself or somebody else with an Operation House Call to really just make sure that everybody understands what the role of the family is during that home visit time, answer any questions that you might have. Right now, when the program started, home visits were actually home visits. Now I call them home visits because they are virtual predominantly, but we're kind of teasing out, the interest in going back to some home visits. So right now that they're virtual, so once you're paired with a family, you would receive an email from myself just to let you know that you will be contacted by students, in the upcoming block or semester, as we call it. The students will receive some information based on the information that the family has provided. So like a brief bio on the family, and then the communication kind of rolls through with the students identifying a lead within their little team, and then scheduling with the family a time that is, conducive to everybody. There's kind of that open conversation, like what you just heard about the classroom time with the co-teachers. It's really, like, I do like to say, it is that opportunity in a very relaxed environment to have those real conversations with the doctors to let them know. And one of the things I love about Operation House Call is really creating that 3-dimensional patient for the students. And I think seeing them in their home is that 3rd dimension that they don't generally get. Obviously from seeing somebody with a limited amount of time in a medical setting. So it's really kind of whatever your family wants to discuss at the time, or show the medical professionals at the time. And again, it may be that the patient, whether the patient be a child or an adult, we similar to every other thing that you've heard, is that we like to get a broad range of ages, diagnoses, just the different characteristics, because of course these are medical professionals that are not going to be working specifically within one area, right? So each family has such a unique opportunity and unique experiences that they can share. So you can share, they can ask, they can, again, kind of like see that 3-dimensional piece and really understand what the parents are trying to convey in those medical appointments, to see them as a whole family unit, and kind of what that looks like is super important in that home visit time. And then the last piece is that after the visit, the students will do a reflection on their visit. And it's truly, as a parent of a child and having all these experiences and ideas about how things could be better, or how information could be shared better, or opportunities could be, expanded upon within those medical settings, to hear those read those reflections from the medical students, to really see that they are getting what the intention is when we meet with them as families and give them our time. It really does come through in those reflections. And it's a wonderful opportunity too for, the Operation House Call team to be able to clarify anything that they didn't understand, or something that they may have had a misperception on, or something that they needed more information. We talked about this, but I'd really love some more information on that. We're able to provide them with that follow-up. And it's so wonderful that they want the follow-up. So that's kind of how we close out that circle on the Operation House Call experience for the students. And it's a great way for us to see, you know, kind of the overall impact that the program has had on them. So I think that I covered everything. I don't know, Mara, did I miss anything?
No, that was a great overview. I think Eva has a question, so go right ahead, and I'm going to get to some chat things too.
Hi, just a quick question. So my daughter is a nursing student at Kobe Sawyer. She is a child that has a disability, dyslexia herself. So she's very sensitive to the needs of other individuals that come into the office with different disabilities. There's she has seen or heard of stories where there's a miscommunication just because the healthcare provider doesn't understand the disability or doesn't understand how some of the disability might be translating into the presentation of the disease or the symptoms that the individual is experiencing. So she was interested in bringing maybe for one virtual visit. She just couldn't log in from work today. Her computer doesn't have Zoom. So she texted me, Mom, can you get on?
I can't believe we didn't talk about siblings. They're such an important part of this, but also the nursing students. So we do have 3 really robust nursing programs that we teach at as well. And we're looking to grow all the time, but we're at Simmons Graduate Nursing School, we're at UMass Graduate Nursing School, and Yale School of Nursing. So are you looking for your daughter to be a co-teacher or?
So I'm not sure, yeah, she's not here. So I'm not sure if she would be the co-teacher or she would, you know, because it seems she doesn't have a intellectual disability or autism. She is surrounded by other students who have autism. They're high functioning students with autism. They're at school, you know, and these kids meet I guess she's sensitive enough to pick up on those neurodiverse differences. So she was interested in seeing if she could do like a presentation with one of your family co-teachers for one of the nursing classes, as they, you know, there will be like this semester she will be doing taking physical doing physical evaluation, right? Like taking the doing that. So do you guys have like short presentations that you have families that would be willing, would you be able to like go and observe, talk to a family that is going through that medical experience to see, you know, what is their experience,
yeah, Eva,
lived experience?
I think we could definitely set something up offline for sure. There's so many families that are willing to talk. And also we do, one thing we didn't mention, and I should have thought of this in the co-teaching piece, is that some of our classes actually have what we call co-teaching panels. So we add more folks with different experiences to the panel. So that might be an opportunity where she could share as well, but we can follow up offline on that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'll leave my email, and I have to jump on another call. I'm at Northeast Arc. So
okay, great.
But thank you so much. This was so insightful.
No problem.
And very nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for sharing.
Can I just throw in one more question?
Of course, Patty.
The feedback that you get after one of the home visits, is that shared with the parents at all, or the people doing the share?
No, it's actually on a privacy protected forum.
Okay.
Mostly so that the students feel really able to express.
No, and that's good too. It's just on the flip side, it would be helpful as somebody participating in it if you thought, because I know we leave fat, dumb, and happy thinking we did a good job, but it'd be nice to get that feedback back if we actually did.
Yeah, and we as parent instructors go in and read the reflections, and then we respond to them in where, like, if they you know, had an experience where they had some questions, or they didn't get to meet a sibling. So then we might give them some specific resources around what's the effect of siblings. Jen, what are some other things from the reflection? Because I know you've been working on them a lot recently.
Yeah, I think that, you know, they come back with a tremendous realization as to the amount of work and resiliency that it takes for families to go through this. You know, we like Maura said in the beginning, it's not just children. So we have lots of, you know, people that are like 24, 25, and, you know, going through that transition process and all of the things that they've gone through in addition to the medical experiences, I think is so important for the medical students or nursing students to understand, because maybe when they see some, you know, really haggard parent waltz into an ER, they can go, oh,
Yep.
okay, I get it. This
Yep.
is something that, this is, you know, the bias they've experienced in the grocery store, or the fight that they've had at school for proper services, and just all the things that, you know, can be on a parent's plate. And then the other thing that I also see is just how much resiliency that the child or young adult has had. And you know, what kind of positive things that they have taken out of their experience, which I think is really great for medical students to see as well.
No, I agree.
So,
No,
so
that
true,
all makes
Jen.
sense. Thank you.
Yeah,
That makes-
that made me think that, you know, they do get also some insight on caregiving.
Yeah.
And they do sometimes have questions on, you know, what happens when you're not there anymore. So these are really good ways to just get these medical students thinking and understanding a little bit about our challenges as well. So, yeah, any other questions on any part? We're at all the medical schools: Harvard, BU, Tufts, UMass, and then those 3 graduate nursing schools I mentioned. But we are looking to grow. If you haven't seen, we have a couple of action alerts out from the ARC, because we're looking for some funding from the state legislature so that we can expand the program. It's just got rave reviews. We've got some national attention, and we think now is the right time to really try to expand. So so if you have a chance to go on the ARC's website, we're in conference committee right now with our legislation and funding, and there'll be a little link to writing to your legislator. It's under the advocacy tab. I'll put it in the chat. But any other questions? I know this is a very complex program with so many different components and lots to talk about, but I'm glad we got through as much as we did today. And oh, I think Christine has another question. Go right ahead.
I just want, like, what is the next step? You know,
Good question.
Express it. You know, I'm almost thinking, because we've had so much experience with home care nurses in our house since Julia was born, so basically 20 odd years, maybe doing it with the nursing program is, you know, or even both, you know, wherever the need is. But I was glad to hear that you do work with some of the nursing programs, because as you're aware, there's a huge nursing shortage in home care. And, you know, I didn't know, as part of this process, if we could kind of, you know, encourage these nursing students to maybe look at that as a career path, or at least a path to start out with.
Absolutely. That's the goal, is to, you know, give them these opportunities to think about career paths that intersect with our community and our population. So Nancy Gardner and Adriana Mason will be the contacts. So if you think you want to begin with some home visits, think about co-teaching,
Mhm.
if you can put your email into the chat, Christine, then they can grab it. And I know a couple other people put into the chat, Sandy, and others that they might be interested. So we'll grab everybody's emails. And then also, you know, if you know other families that you think are interested, definitely turn them on and have them connect to one of us as well. Great. Awesome. Murray, thank you. You guys will be fantastic. I'm excited. All right, well, I'll give people another minute to put names into the chat, or I can also just put my email in case people want to do that offline. So it's easy, Sullivan at arcmath.org.
Jen knows how to get a hold of me.
Okay, great. Oh, good. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. This was a wonderful opportunity. And for those of you who are already involved with us, thank you so much for your dedication to the program. Thank you,
Yeah.
Adriana. That's perfect.
Oh, put it mine.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, thank you all for joining. I just wanted to say, and I hope you have a good day. And I'll put my mom's email in the chat. So just give me a
Yeah, put the one.
Oh, the ARC one?
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, we've participated in different aspects of Operation House Call. And so we've done home visits. We've done a lot of home visits, as well as Jonathan does the co-teaching. And just from a parent's perspective too, as a mom, not as a co-teacher coordinator, the therapeutic benefits I have gotten from this program are overwhelmingly positive and impactful. And I mean, I've been asked questions that I've never been asked in the 20 years of my journey with Jonathan. And it puts some peace in my heart to know that medical students want to know these things. They want to get to know our families, and to see the level of interest, you know, knowing that we've all had good experiences and bad experiences, to know that change can happen. It's just so powerful. And I feel like it's made us better advocates, both of us. And it's also just overwhelmingly has helped me put aside some of my trauma and different things myself. So,
And if I could speak on it.
sure.
I speak.
Okay.
But as someone that's been through like the ringer plenty of times in my life, I've got to say, like, being able to speak my voice and have people actually be interested in what I'm saying instead of just throwing it aside and all that stuff, it's just been incredibly healing for me and for my mom as well. It's just even if you're like a shy person or don't really want to talk that much and all that stuff, there's still some way that you can communicate with this, and I encourage you to try at least it once. Even if it doesn't fit, at least once try it to see if it's a good fit, because believe it or not, I'm a very shy person. Like, I know more was just like, well, smiling and thinking to yourself, yeah, right, but but I can guarantee you come across me on the street, I'll be the like, no, what, you what? But I just want to say this has just been incredibly healing, like, not only for me, like, personally, but me, not only me personally, but also for my entire family, because the stuff we've been through has just been crazy, and having people actually want to listen to what we say has just been healing. That's all I wanted to say.
And I think part of Operation House Call, which makes it a family, is that it is a family issue. It is not just the person with the disability issue. It is an entire family that gets to come together for support from our community, from the doctors and nurses, from the students. I know, like, Jonathan's personal doctors are so on board with all these things, and just, you know, making positive strides moving forward it's just so impactful. So please feel free to connect with us, and we're looking forward to welcoming you all aboard.
Mhm. Please at least think about it.
So sweet.
It's a win-win, right? It's a win for the students, it's a win for the families, it's a win for the people with disabilities, so.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, thank you, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Enjoy the summer.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You good.